Hello everyone. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about gun control. I was watching a debate between Piers Morgan and Alex Jones. I was a little bit bothered by it. The man made a fool out of himself. I'm just gonna say it. Alex Jones is absolutely crazy. But that video prompted me to make this video talking about gun control because somebody needs to talk about it logically. I didn't really want to make this video because it's becoming overly politicized. It's a very sensitive issue in light of the tragedies that have taken place. And I think it's a shame that we live in a country where people want to politicize tragedies like this, but it is human nature. It's going to happen. But I'm just going to put my 2 cents in. Here's a couple facts for you. The government, through prohibition, has thus far proven incapable of getting anything out of the country and keeping it out of the hands of its citizens. Look at alcohol prohibition. There was more alcohol, and alcohol was more dangerous, and it was leading to more gang violence during the prohibition era than when they ended it. You look at the drug wars. The drug wars are not working. There's more drugs in this country than there's ever been. And then look at the fact that we have over 12 million illegal immigrants in this country. This country can't even keep illegal immigrants out of the country. They can't keep drugs out of the country. And they can't keep, and they've already proven and at least admitted that they couldn't keep alcohol out of the country. If you think that they're going to keep guns out of the country, you're crazy. It's not going to happen. That only leaves us with 2 choices then. An unarmed populace who won't be able to defend themselves against a mob rule by thugs who do own guns and will use them against an unarmed citizenry. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you that a criminal doesn't obey laws. Therefore, gun laws are not going to end violent crime. But if citizens own guns and they can defend themselves, that makes a much safer society than unarmed citizenry who can't defend themselves against guys who do have guns. Secondly, you have crime statistics. It's been proven countless times that the areas in the United States where guns are banned, aka gun-free zones, exhibit higher crime rates or higher violent crime rates than those where the citizens are well armed and have more concealed weapons permits, etc., etc. This is according to FBI data. And of course the media isn't going to report stories where shootings have been averted by people who owned guns and defended themselves. Of course the media isn't pushing the story where recently a shooting took place in a college with a crossbow, not a gun, so I guess we need to ban crossbows now. Furthermore, a lot of people are using the example of Great Britain, saying that they have lower gun crime rates and therefore their ways are working. Maybe we should do what they're doing. A couple things about Britain, though. They don't have as many packed urban areas as we do. They don't have as large a population as we do. So of course they're not going to have as many gun crimes. But secondly, you have to look at other countries as well. Take, for example, Jamaica. Jamaica, you're not allowed to own a gun. They have very strict gun control. Yet gun smuggling is a huge problem in Jamaica. Kingston, Jamaica is considered one of the murder capitals of the world. Then you have Mexico. You can't own a gun. No citizen can own a gun. Yet the drug cartels basically rule. In fact, it's made the drug cartels more powerful than the Mexican government itself. And then you have to look at where the gun violence is coming from in this country. Even according to the FBI statistics, the majority of gun violence is taking place with gang violence. Gangs don't usually get gun permits. Many of them are convicted felons. They couldn't pass a background check. And they obtain guns illegally off of the black market. In fact, I don't know if any of you have watched the Ganglands series on the Discovery Channel. I'd recommend that you do. It'll probably turn you into a gun rights advocate like me. But according to that, gangs have multiple sources of income. Of course, there's prostitution, and of course there's drugs. That's the number one. There's extortion. But right under drugs, number 2 source of income for most gangs is gun trafficking. So there is prominent illegal gun ownership in this country, and it is being used to kill innocent people. Guns are going to be around whether we ban them or not. All this aside, the Second Amendment was not written for the purpose of self-defense, although that's a very good use for it, and it wasn't used for hunting. And even if that was the case, you can use a hunting rifle to kill someone. But the point of the Second Amendment was it was to be a last resort against government tyranny. That's in the Declaration of Independence, and that was the point of the language written in the Second Amendment. Banning weapons for citizens in an authoritarian society for an authoritarian dictator figure to maintain control is not new. In fact, it's been taking place even before firearms were invented. It took place in the Middle Ages. The peasant class was not allowed to own weapons of war. They could own daggers and farming tools. They could own hunting weapons, maybe a short bow, but they were not allowed to own real weapons. So when the feudal lord sent his knights in to crush the peasant revolts, it was very easy for them to do so. You put a dagger up against a broadsword or an axe any day, who's going to win? The only thing that's really changed as far as banning weapons goes is they've changed the justification. Feudal lords, of course, did it just because they could. I am the king, therefore I'm saying you peasants can't own weapons. Nowadays, the government does it to protect us against crime, against each other, against ourselves. I fear a government that wants to protect me from myself. If you don't believe the government will turn on you, or is capable of turning on you, all you have to do is study history. Study what happened in Nazi Germany. Study what happened in many of these countries all over the world. They usually started with banning weapons. Nonetheless, Alex Jones was completely out of control in that interview. I don't want to talk about him too much. I think he does more harm than good in his rants. But I would like to refer you to a few videos excuse me, a few videos that were much better. Piers Morgan had a couple guests on his show that actually were very good. One of them was retired Marine Joshua Boston. Another one was Larry Pratt. I particularly liked that video because Piers Morgan actually looked like Alex Jones in that video. So definitely check out Larry Pratt versus Piers Morgan. You could also check out, what's the other one? Ben Shapiro. I like that video because Ben Shapiro didn't allow himself to be bullied by Piers Morgan. He really stood up for what he believed in. And again, these are men I might not agree with everything on, but they made a great case for this issue. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for listening. I hope we'll have an honest discussion about this issue. Let's not make it emotional. Let's not make it personal. But let's look at facts and figures, and we can find a solution. And just remember, win the debate intellectually. Don't make the mistake that Alex Jones made. Don't make the mistake that Piers Morgan constantly makes on his show. This is a real issue and has to be discussed in a real and honest way.